悪霊退散.
And here's a perfect time to talk about this quote from the IGN news article from Harada. This is pulled and archived from Tekken Gamers. Shout out to them. Tekken Gamers is kind of referencing Tekken Force. I know a lot of players want Tekken Force to become a reality, and I guess I'll just mention the topic very briefly. I don't think Tekken Force will show up in Tekken 8. I just don't. That mode sounds too expensive to stack on top of what Tekken 8 already is. Harada said in the past that one stage costs $500,000. That's one normal playable stage. Tekken Force, to my understanding, has its own stages, its own maps, its own level design, its own everything. So simply going off of what Harada said, one Tekken 4 stage would cost roughly $500,000, and how many stages would they make for this one game mode? 5, 6, 7, 8, 10? I mean, do the math and see how quickly that adds up. Realistically ask, will Tekken 8 do something like that on top of everything they already are doing? It's just a lot of money to spend, and if you ask me, I think that money has been spent on other things. The Super Ghost AI, they said that was super expensive. It just seems like this is something that a lot of players want, but sadly will not happen. The game spent a lot of money already, and they probably don't have enough for this. But let's focus on what Harada is saying. This is what I really want to talk about. It's a quote. It says, "For Tekken 7, it felt like my life work. It could have been the end and the last installment." This is referring to how Tekken Tag Tournament 2 almost killed the franchise. I know that conversation is almost a decade old, but players seem to forget. You have this sort of weird disillusion growing about Tekken Tag Tournament 2, how the game was so great and it was so special and it was the glory days, but people forget that that game literally almost killed the franchise. And here's Harada once again referring to that. It could have been the last installment. You know, Tekken 7, this was it. You know, Tekken 7, this was their last opportunity to turn this franchise into something profitable, and they did. Tekken 7 is a success, a major success, and they were given all this free wiggle room for Tekken 8. But let's keep going. So I had to make it the best it could be. Talking about Tekken 7, but then it was released and it did really well, and now it's like Tekken 8 got to be even better than Tekken 7. So there's no regrets for me or any other member on the staff team. It's something we constantly talk about. This could be it. So you want to give it all you got. And it's quotes like this from Harada that I really respect, because he understands like the rocky slope, the up and downs of the Tekken, you know, just developing a game. You know, sometimes a game is successful, sometimes it's not. In Tekken 7, they wanted to, you know, kind of do with the most that they can with the budget and everything, the resources they were given. That game turned into something successful, and they're not taking it for granted. In Tekken 8, we can see now what they're doing, and they're putting their heart and their soul into this, and they're leaving no regrets, none at all. And I mean, you could argue that Tekken Force would be a part of that equation, like Tekken Gamer brings up. You could just see here how impactful Tekken 7 was, not only for the player, for esports, for content creators, for the developers as well, for everyone. Tekken 7 made a whole lot of money, and a lot of that money is being reinvested back into Tekken 8. A lot of other gaming companies out there, and just companies in general, does not do that. Whenever a company strikes gold, they just take that money and run. The next game that releases is pretty much a copy and paste. I know people like to make the argument that Tekken 7 or Tekken 8 is just a Tekken 7.5, you know, lol. But it's really not, bro. Like, this game is one of the most ambitious Tekkens ever made, and they really didn't even have to do that. They could have just pocketed all of the cash, put in ranked mode, put in player batch, put in team battle, and they could have called it a day. But they really are going above and beyond, and this is why I champion Harada so much, is because I seen what Call of Duty does. I seen with other gaming franchise that I love, how far they have fallen. Bandai Namco is a different breed, bro, and I think they deserve the credit for